Hej, jag heter John. Jag är 41 år gammal, pappa till 2 barn, bor i Åbo i Finland. Jag ska berätta lite kort om hur den här coronatiden har varit här hos oss. Allmänt kan man säga att coronarestriktionerna i Finland har varit medelstrikta. Så där ungefär. Det har varit betydligt striktare än hos er i Sverige, men ändå har vi haft det nog också lätt jämfört med till exempel många sydeuropeiska länder där det har varit totalt utegångsförbud. Åtgärderna började i mitten av mars. Den 18 mars utlyste den finska regeringen undantagstillstånd. Och det är första gången efter andra världskriget, då Finland invaderades av Sovjetunionen och det verkligen var krig, som det har utlysts undantagstillstånd. Då ville den finska regeringen meddela ett bud att det här är en allvarlig kris, och det budskapet har gått väl igenom. De restriktioner som infördes innehåller bland annat samlingsförbud för mer än 10 personer, så vi får inte samlas med mer större grupper än så. Vi får inte alls besöka eller möta personer som är över 70 år gamla för att skydda dem från viruset. Alla som kan måste arbeta hemifrån. Skolorna har varit stängda i 2 månader och också skolundervisningen har skett på distans hemifrån. Bibliotek, biografer, museer, restauranger, kaféer, teatrar, allt är stängt. Endast affärerna får hålla öppet och man får hämta takeaway-mat från restauranger. De här restriktionerna har tagits emot ganska väl. Det som orsakade lite knotter vid något skede var då huvudstadsregionen också avspärrades. Vi har alltså inte utegångsförbud, vi får röra oss fritt hur vi vill. Vi får åka till våra sommarvillor, men i mars märktes det att Helsingforsborna började resa till Lappland på skidsemestrar och viruset spred sig dit med dem. Och då beslöt sig regeringen för att spärra av hela länet där Helsingfors finns. Och det varar i ungefär 2 veckor. Men det är avslutat nu. De här restriktionerna har tagits ganska väl emot. Fastän det begränsar våra liv väldigt mycket, så har befolkningen i allmänhet varit nöjda med att regeringen tar krisen på allvar och vidtar ordentliga åtgärder. Den första gången man faktiskt har varit mer allmänt missnöjda har varit nu i och med att skolorna öppnades på nytt. Och människor är verkligen oroade för att skolornas öppnande kommer att bidra till att viruset börjar spridas mer aggressivt. Anledningen till att skolorna kunde öppnas nu är nämligen det att de här åtgärderna verkar ha funkat bättre än förväntat. Och vi har väldigt bra koll på viruset just nu. Dödssiffrorna har varit moderata, kunde man säga så. Som värst var det ungefär 10 personer per dag som avled, men nu har det gått ner till 4-5. Det totala dödssiffran idag den 18 maj är 298 personer som har dött på grund av coronaviruset. Vilket ju förstås är en tragisk siffra, men jämfört med många andra länder så är det acceptabelt. Hur har det varit för oss här hemma då? Det har nog varit rätt så tungt för oss och för så många andra finländare också, speciellt för familjer som har barn och barn i skolåldern. Man är 4 personer som alla försöker jobba och hjälpa varandra med skoluppgifter samtidigt, så blir det rätt så stressigt. Speciellt vår yngsta son som går i 1:an behöver mycket hjälp med sina skoluppgifter, och det skapar en viss belastning. Men tyngst har det nog ändå varit för barnen. Skolans sociala miljö är jätteviktig. Att man får umgås dagligen med sina kompisar och vara med i den där gemenskapen. Så det har en inverkan. Det betyder mycket för barnens välmående, och man märker det att barnen har blivit lite mer matta för varje dag som går, då man sitter instängd med bara familjen att umgås med. Och man märker alldeles klart hur uppiggande det har varit för dem att få återgå till skolan nu, fast det bara har varit 2 dagar. Under sommaren kommer restriktionerna att lätta ytterligare. Vi får träffas med större grupper. Restaurangerna och kaféerna och museerna och biblioteken får småningom öppna. Men stora publikevenemang som festivaler är nog avblåsta. Som tur har vi aldrig haft utegångsförbud, för att få röra sig i naturen är jätteviktigt för finländare och det har utnyttjats mycket, och människor är också ivriga att få åka till sina sommarvillor, vilket har varit tillåtet då hela tiden. Så, det var kort om läget här i Finland. Så önskar jag åt er att sköta om er, var försiktiga och njuta av sommaren så väl det går i de här omständigheterna.
Hi Cecilia, hi students. My name is Petra. I am 52 years old and I'm living with my boyfriend in the Netherlands, in 's-Hertogenbosch, also called Den Bosch. So we heard from the beginning, the first case was reported on February the 27th, and the first dead person about coronavirus was around March 6th. So, and by now it's May, and we have in the whole Netherlands 5,670 people that have died, and we have 43,870 people that have been tested positive about coronavirus. From the beginning in March, the whole shops were closed down, except the grocery stores, gas station, everything that you need for your daily life. That was open, but everything was closed. The schools and theaters, concert halls, museums, shopping malls, everything. So the Netherlands have really properly working in the hospitals. Also, the personnel was really overworked about the coronavirus. We don't have any tests here. The advice from the government is if you have symptoms, of course, you have to go to a doctor, but you can't go to the doctor. They have some special places where you have to go when you have coughing, or if you can breathe not properly, you have to go to such an sport hall. There's a doctor only for coronavirus symptoms, and then you have to go there. Here in Den Bosch or 's-Hertogenbosch is a touristic city, and we have a lot of tourists, especially in summer. We are surrounded by water. We have little canals like in Amsterdam, and so the people love to go by boat through our city, and there's a lot of restaurants and cafes and pubs, and yes, we have a lot of tourism, and of course it is affected, and everything about tourism is closed. Yes, I worked from home. I was in the home office. I work for a lingerie shop here in Den Bosch for the German customer service. So I was able to work, fortunately, but I'm also a yoga teacher, and the yoga school is also closed. They do online lessons. My boyfriend, this is a little bit different because he works at the airport Eindhoven as a security, and of course the flights are all cancelled now. There are little flights most of the time to Bulgaria or to England. People that work here in Den Bosch, they have to travel by plane, and yes, so 2 times per week he is working, and the rest of the time he is at home. Because also the restaurants are closed, and little businesses, and they have really problems about earning money. And so the government decided, what was it? About 13 billion euros to help out for the industry. Social life. What is social life? Yes, it is really, really a pity that everything is closed. We love to go to town for visiting a restaurant or a pub or just sitting there eating an ice cream or something like this. It's not possible at the moment. At the 1st of June, it has to be possible in a kind of way, and we will see how it works. So we can't meet friends at the moment, not really, or within a distance of 1.5 meter. And we did a lot about messenger, so typing things or write each other. And we also try out this video conference or video chats with friends in Germany. Most of the friends I have are living not in the Netherlands, they are living in Germany. So, of course, you can also do exercise here at home. That is not the problem. But my friend, for example, he is used to go to the gym, and the gym are closed now, and they will be open maybe in September, and that is really hard time for him. So have the schools been open? At the 1st of June, all the schools will be open. Not only the basic schools, also the other schools for the older students. And we will see how it works. Most of the times we were talking about the situation at home, my boyfriend and me, and no, I don't really have mental health issues about it, because I'm also a little bit introvert, and I'm kind of used to be for myself, so this is not the problem. I think the depression is not so strong that it affects our daily life, so we can deal with it. I wish you and your families and friends there in Sweden strong health, and be well and take care. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Kumiko, speaking from Tokyo, Japan. Before I get started, let me introduce a little bit about myself. I'm doing drug safety researching here in Tokyo, and also I'm a part-time student of the Open University, majoring science-related studies. And today, I'm gonna talk about the situation of COVID-19 in Japan. So first of all, the total death number in Japan as of today, 24th of May, is 814. And regarding the lockdown situation in Japan, actually we don't really have lockdown. But instead of it, there have been a kind of restriction or request from the government for people to stay home as much as possible, which was officially declared around the beginning of April. And many societies, including many companies and many restaurants, have been kind of forced to work in the restricted hours. Or some places like schools, pubs, nightclubs, and gyms have been shut down since then. So many industries have been affected economically because of COVID-19. However, we've got a good news today, actually, because the restriction in Tokyo will be finally released tomorrow. So that's a good thing. Regarding the healthcare problems in Japan, is especially around March to April, was the availability of testing. I mean, there are only a few numbers of testing. And due to that kind of situation, a number of people passed away during the past few months. That is really bad. Regarding the tourism, there has been serious impacts in Japan too, like other countries. Because we have a big holiday called Golden Week, which is a special holiday, like Easter holidays in Western countries. Which is beginning from the end of April to beginning of May. And many people normally travel around, not only inside of Japan, but also traveling abroad during the period. But this year, this Golden Week, we have been restricted of the movement. So, it must be a significant damage on the travel industry. Regarding my work situation, fortunately, my job allows me to work 100% from home. And I feel quite comfortable about working from home actually. So it feels much better than working at the office for me. And I think it's time for Japanese government to promote this kind of work style, even after this turmoil, I think. And about my mental health, I believe I'm a type of person who can manage time for myself. I mean, I don't really care being alone for a while. But since last month, since April, my feeling is getting depressed. Not very depressed actually, but getting sick and tired of being restricted in movement. I was actually planning for going back to my hometown, Nagoya, to see my family and friends, but I had to cancel it because of the government's request in April. But now the situation is getting better, and actually I was able to take a couple of days off last week. So I was finally able to see my family and friends last week. So it was really good. I think I spoke enough. So thanks for having me, and I really appreciate the continuous effort of the health professionals all over the world. And I hope we will soon get over this craziness. So thanks for having me, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hello everybody, it's a pleasure talking to you. My name is Václav Šulista. I live in Basel, Switzerland. I'm the honorary consul of Czechia here in Switzerland, and I'm in daily contact with my friends and with my family. That's why I have a very good overview about what's going on in terms of COVID-19 in my first homeland. So from March the 1st until May 24th, we had 395,000 of confirmed of tests. Out of those, we had 8,890 confirmed infections, and 6,044 people have completely recovered. 314 deaths, which means that only 3.5% of the total amount of infected people died on COVID-19, and Czechia belongs to the countries with the lowest lethality on COVID-19. So the medical professions are of course in full swing. Basic shops and services and production facilities are in operations. The garden restaurants are now open, and others are still closed or work with delivery. The offices are slowly returning to normal conditions, but during the main crisis, all office workers has been working from home in home office. In the beginning, there were some problems with available COVID-19 tests and with their quality, which was not entirely good, specifically those imported from China. Epidemiological survey is in Czechia on high level, and the government has introduced a so-called state of emergency in the beginning, but it has already been lifted. The tourism has been heavily affected, and in Prague, which is one of the major touristic centers in Czechia and in whole Europe, it is normally crowded by tourists every day, and the view of empty streets, including all those popular destinations, looks pretty apocalyptic. But for locals, it was first time in the modern history of Czechia to go and enjoy beauties of this city at rest and absorb the atmosphere of historical and romantical sites without being disturbed by floods of tourists. So the government has made some compensation to several group of people belonging to professions which have been harmed by this situation, but still there are some disagreements in parliament about how much, to whom, and so on about specific compensations. Me personally, I was working most of the time, and but as I work mainly as a career coach, I've realized that people have different problems in their daily lives, that career. So there was some differences between my income before and now, but it's recovering. Me personally here, during the period of the main crisis, that the social life was very limited, and with my daily talks with my sister and my friends, all remained at home, as theaters, concerts and all social events has been closed and not working. And the situation is gradually beginning to relax. Yeah, my kids stayed at the isolations, been doing their work in isolation. One of my daughters is teacher, so she was teaching online. So in Czechia, the schools are still not fully open, and there are complicated rules for presence of limited number of persons in schools, maximum 15 per classroom, and there is an individual regime. The rules have been gradually relaxed, and maybe in the half of June, the school should be fully open. On Monday, that's today, 25th, the long-awaited interiors of restaurants, cafes, bars, and number of other establishments as hotels and other accommodations facilities will be open again. Sport events are already allowed, but with limited number of visitors, which measure will be applied also for other actions like concerts, theaters, and so on. The borders of Czechia with some neighbor states, Germany and Austria, should be open in the middle of June, but not with Slovakia and Poland. Really the biggest thing what I was missing is to going out just for 1 or 2, 3 beers with my friends. This was really something I was deeply missing. Other stuff, I would say I dealt pretty well. So this will be end of my video. Thank you very much for your attention, and please, if you talk English, use the short name Czechia instead of this clumsy and cold formal name, the Czech Republic. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Angela from South Korea. I work as a teacher in English school. I would like to tell you how it was in February until now with the COVID-19 situation in South Korea. First of all, I still remember how bad it was in February with the first patient 31 who participated in gathering at a Shincheonji church in Daegu, and it was the most toughest time for everyone because of this sudden outbreak. People had to stay at home, and the people are very scared of going out. It was kind of a very high tension between people as well. Most public places and schools and shops had to shut down for over a month. So people were struggling economically and emotionally. In the beginning, there were a lack of facilities and hospital in a city like Daegu, where the most highest affected area in South Korea. Government and authority did their best with the TTT plan to control the spread. TTT plan is to test, trace, and treatment. So thanks to the good preparation of a previous outbreak like MERS and SARS, Korean government could provide test kit to people, and they traced people's contact by using technology. And thirdly, the number of infected could heal successfully without many victims. So today I checked the total number of victims are 266 so far. I would like to tell you another aspect with my job. I work as a teacher, so when there was a very high tension, the school was closed for 2 weeks, and then my boss told me to continue with the schedule. I had to find out the good way to communicate with my student, so I was using like a messenger and to ask how they feel and to check their homeworks, and then also making online lectures, so in a way they can do their homeworks. In case of emergency, they might suggest, to use online studies in the future. And just a few days ago, the high school reopened again, and with the high standard measures, like student, they should wear the mask all the time. Also, it is obligated to check the temperature, body temperature when they enter, and also for the visitors. So it's the same things for everyone, every public places, especially the school, and is obligated to have the good sanitary supplement everywhere, and to tell the importance of practicing the social distancing as well. And most of the time I try not to go to the public places to take a cup of coffee, for example, and then I try to keep in touch with my friend via online or on the phone, because I think it is quite important to keep social distancing, not only for myself but also for the others. Try not to think negative. That's the one thing. Just when there are so many problems, the best way is to empty your mind, just to focus on what you like, what you can do, in a certain circumstance. So thank you for having me. I hope things changes. This situation will change very soon. And then let's keep in touch with your friend.
Hi, my name is Sergi and I'm living in Barcelona, Spain. And I'll try with my bad English, sorry, to explain to all of you the situation that we are living here in Barcelona, in Spain, with this disaster. So the thing is, I'm a pharmacy technician, and then you can suppose how difficult it was for me to be working during the last 3 months, because the pharmacies and hospitals and some shops to buy some food were the unique things opened during all this disaster, and the unique possibility to do social life in some point. At the beginning, our government decided to not do tests on the citizens. Then was very difficult because nobody knows about if they was infected or not. For example, in my case, I was infected with the coronavirus in the second week of March, and then I went to the doctor, but they decided to not do anything with me. The numbers are very bad. For example, we have now 27,000 people died and 200,000 people infected. For me, in my opinion, the real problem is the economy, because only 1 week ago all the shops start to be opened again, but not only them, only some kind of shops related with sanitary services, and for example some bars and some pubs, but with strictly rules about for example, if you want to be there, is only 2 hours during day, and you need to be 2 meters from the other person separately, and for example the bars only can be opened 2 hours on during the day, and only in the 30% of the maximum of the people that they can have inside. Another problem right now is on schools, because all the kids now are doing their studies online from home with no teachers, only some explanations, but not so much. And for the parents, that situation is so difficult, because they have to work, but it's so difficult with the kids at home full time, because in some points they must work, but they must be the teacher. Maybe in September only the 20% of the students will be at the same class. Then it's very difficult because the schools are so little. It's very difficult to have a lot of class to have only groups of 10 persons inside, when normally we have inside 40 students. The other part of the students will be at home doing the studies online, and it's a tragedy for the parents, because they need to work, they have to work. It's super difficult to be working full time 8 or 10 hours during the day, and having your children's full time at home with a lot of questions for you, a lot of problems for you. The tourist is the same, because right now all the borders of Spain are closed. It's very difficult to take flights to other countries, and the same for the people that wants to be here. It will be difficult for the economy, because I don't know if you know, but the tourism is the main reason for our economy to be okay. The people can be here from other countries. The economy of the restaurants, of the bars, pubs, hotels will be very affected as well in the future. For all these reasons, I'm a bit pessimist about the situation in Spain. Not now for the virus. In my opinion, the worst part is coming with a big crisis in a short time. So that's all. I don't know if you understood something about my explanation, but I'm sending my best from Catalonia for all of you.
Hi, my name is Debbie. I'm 60 years old and I live on the west coast of Australia. We have a population of close to 25 million people here and have had just over 7,000 coronavirus cases. 6,500 have recovered, and there are still currently 508 active cases, and unfortunately 100 people have died. We have closed borders and travel bans in place. There are exceptions, and those people allowed in need to isolate for 2 weeks. As West Australia is a very large state, there are also regional travel restrictions. Some were recently lifted, and the people living in the Perth district can now travel to the southern part of our state. This, as you can imagine, has greatly affected the tourism industry. Our hospitals, fortunately, have not been overwhelmed with coronavirus cases. At the current time, there are 36 people in hospital with the coronavirus, and there are 11 in ICU. In the state of Western Australia, there's only about 3 in hospital with the virus. There are restrictions to visitors entering hospitals and aged care facilities, and all non-essential operations have been postponed. When you go to a medical centre, patients are requested to wait outside the practice until called in, and then you are asked if you've had a temperature, a cough, been in contact with anyone with the virus, or with anyone that's been overseas recently. A lot of appointments by the doctors are dealt with over the phone or via video chat now. This is to keep the numbers down in their practice. 1 million tests have been carried out in Australia, 67,649 of those in Western Australia. I personally don't know anyone that has had the virus or has even required testing. This week, restrictions were lifted on small retail shops, restaurants, cafes, community centres, libraries, churches, pubs, non-contact sport, indoor and outdoor fitness classes, public swimming pools, weddings, funerals are all allowed 20 people to come together now, though still maintaining social distancing. Our government has provided payments to small business owners to help pay their staff. Low-income earners have also received extra payments. I'm retired and things haven't really changed for me. It's autumn here, so we have lovely mild weather. People have been able to go out for walks, cycle, picnic, go boating, camping. So we don't feel as closed in and restricted as I imagine some people would feel in a colder climate that have to stay indoors. Overall, I feel very fortunate to live in a country where the coronavirus is taken seriously and that preventative steps were quickly implemented. I wish you all the best in Sweden and stay safe. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Pauline Grandenon. I'm French, I'm 32 years old. So here in France, up to this date, which is May the 28th, we've had 28,000 dead in France due to the COVID. To struggle against the virus, the government put into place a complete lockdown of everything except for the food stores, but everything else was closed from the end of March to May the 11th. So it was recently lifted. How has healthcare worked in France? Well, it has worked tremendously well given the horrendous circumstances and the lack of pretty much everything here in France. We've lacked masks, they've lacked health kits, they have lacked intensive care beds. They were pretty much left with nothing to deal with that epidemic. And given these circumstances, they handled it really well. And as a result of this lack of preparation and lack of safety gear, a lot of the medical staff in France has fallen ill with the virus since the beginning. As for the tests, it's a major problem in France, and it has fueled the anger against our government. We have lacked tests from the very beginning. Tourism has been put to a stop until now, which is a big problem for France. But the government has just announced that it was possible to go on a holiday in France. So hopefully it's going to start again soon. But as for foreigners coming to France, which is normally every year, we don't know yet how it's going to come out. So that's still on hold, I guess. As for me, I'm a journalist, so I've been able to work from a distance pretty easily. And apart from that, very soon I was put under the regime of partial unemployment, chômage partiel we say in French, which means the government, The government compensates the wages of the workers in order to allow the companies to continue to function properly and in order to avoid massive layoffs. So that's what has been happening to me as well. So far so good, but kind of worried about the future. My social life has been completely reduced and put to a stop during the lockdown, like pretty much everyone else, except I was just living with my boyfriend, so I was not completely alone. I've been able to exercise during the lockdown thanks to the apps, to the Nike apps. Sorry for the commercial. It was really useful, and it was kind of a, how would you say, it allowed me to blow off some steam when you're in a small Parisian apartment. It's kind of a relief to have to be able to exercise a bit. I also did a bit of running, which allowed me to run into a completely deserted Paris, which was quite amazing, and probably I will never see that again. My well-being and my health, my mental health, well, I'm quite fine, really. I've handled it quite okay. I'm not a person that's hyperactive or anything, and I was kind of content to have a bit of a me time and us time here. But I'm still worried about the virus, obviously, about the health of my parents, about the health of my loved ones, and about the future of my job and the perspective of the economy in general, which are quite grim. So that's obviously worrying, but our generation is kind of used to being worried now, so we'll wait and see. And the main concern is not about if we will rise up again from this, because we will, but how and how long will it take? That's the real issue. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening to me. Bye bye.
Hello, my name is Caroline. I'm 46 and I'm in Canterbury in the UK. Officially at the moment it stands at about 37,000, which is the second highest in the world at the moment. Unofficially, it's over 60,000 according to the Financial Times report last week. This includes deaths that aren't counted in the official total. So, I think the official total is deaths in hospitals at the moment. They recently started adding care homes, but there's a delay on those figures, and we have very high number of deaths that have occurred connected with COVID as well. We didn't lock down until the 23rd of March, which was a long time after other European countries. It was a long time after the dangers were known, but we have a very, very corrupt and incompetent Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and his only concern was to preserve the economy. And what he's done, he's actually destroyed both the economy and people's lives. Currently, food halls and supermarkets are open, and essential services. They've started recently opening things like garden centres, and as of next week, they will be opening schools. Which, even though the decline in the death rate has only been slight, but such is the urgency to get people working again. But as you can hear around me, we're currently in lockdown, and so hearing the families playing in the garden. Has the healthcare hospital been able to function properly? Well, not really. They have been at capacity, and they had to build extra hospitals, and the health service is completely on its knees, and it is the short answer. There have been tests, but they have been very hard to get hold of. If you try to apply for one, it's only for key workers or relatives of key workers. Key workers are defined as people providing the essential services, so NHS, care workers, But if you go to the official website, put your postcode in. I think my nearest one was 60-mile drive away, and I don't drive, so that people have been putting their postcodes in and being told to travel 150 miles away. The situation is so bad in England that the governments of Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland have officially said to ignore the English advice, so they are following their own rules right now. Tourism is very important to all countries. How has tourism been affected by this situation? Again, very badly. Most places are still closed, and yeah, same around the whole country. I'm a therapist, a hypnotherapist and a coach. I can work online, but at the moment I think it's something that people are struggling to transition to. So I've seen a couple of people, there has been some self-employed support, but it's been too little too late, and it cuts off this weekend, which is end of May, whereas employees of companies, their cover continues until the end of October, so I'm not sure what self-employed people are supposed to do, but yeah, interesting times. The rules have been such that we are not supposed to meet people. We have been officially told that we're allowed to go out and exercise in the outdoors for an hour a day. That's been extended a little bit, but the rules are absolutely crazy. So at the moment I'm just meeting and talking with friends online, but just to give you a little bit of idea about these rules so you can kind of see how crazy the situation is in this country. So just in 1 week, this was very recent, the government made it illegal to drive to Wales because the Welsh government didn't want to accept English people coming in if they're operating under laxer rules. The government made it easier to see other people's parents than your own, because the government said you can have other people in your home for childcare, nannies, domestics, gardeners, basically the elite of society. So you can see your parents if you hire them as your childcare provider. Yes, I've already said, issued new advice that was officially ignored by Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and the councils of Manchester, Liverpool and Newcastle. The government also admitted there would be a border down the Irish Sea after a year, claiming there wouldn't. This is connected with Brexit, which is this whole other nightmare continuing at the same time. They also said it's okay for a childminder to come into contact with your kids as long as you open a window. And they also published advice that you can car share as long as the driver doesn't look left. I'm not making this up. They announced investment so we could use public transport again, and then said it's our civic duty to avoid using public transport to prevent the spread of the virus. Then they said we must go to work, and they said we must not travel to work. Then they said it was all explained in the published guidelines, then had it pointed out to them in Parliament that they hadn't published guidelines. Then they blamed the public for not understanding the new rules. Then they went on TV to explain the rules, got them wrong, and had to be corrected. They then went to Parliament to explain the rules, still got them wrong, and had to be corrected by the opposition, and then said we should wear face masks, before then saying we shouldn't wear face masks. Then they said again that we should wear face masks. Then they clapped for NHS workers, National Health Service workers, and then introduced a 55% increase in the fee that foreign staff pay to work for the NHS, which is basically the majority of the staff. They then issued a plan to open schools, which teachers said was unsafe, and then said that doctors were brave, but teachers weren't. They then had to watch as the doctors said the teachers were right and it wasn't safe to open the schools. So that just gives you an idea, a snapshot of this country, because all of those things happened in 1 week. My personal mental health, have I been able to stay out of the social distance depression? Well, I am thankfully a therapist, so, but yes, it's been difficult, mainly because of this behaviour of the government and just seeing my country just turning into an absolute plague pit laughing stock. So I hope that kind of summarises everything. And yeah, enjoy. Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Timur. I'm 32 years old and I come from the city of Prokopyevsk, which is located in the southwestern part of Siberia, Russia. According to the latest statistics, the number of deaths since the outbreak in the country has been around 4,142 people. The lockdown procedures throughout the country have been more or less standard, starting from things like social distancing, closing of all venues, cancellation of events and gatherings, and mandatory quarantine periods of 2 weeks for everyone who traveled between regions of Russia. Of course, more densely populated regions and more active regions of Russia had rules that were more strict. For example, they had curfews and other kinds of limitations. While on the other hand, the regions that were less affected, for example, the region where I currently live, didn't have rules as strict. So we were able to move freely and we didn't have curfews. While social distancing, venue closing, and all other things were induced here as well. All schools, libraries, entertainment venues, shopping malls have been closed during the lockdown period. So every place that gathers more than 10 people. And the places that have been opened were places that were required for people's daily lives. So, of course, hospitals, pharmacies, supermarkets, and on the other hand, places like restaurants and post offices worked remotely. The hospitals worked, the help was available, although with variable degree of competence, depending on which part of Russia we are talking about. Are we talking about big cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and others like that? Or are we talking about like towns like Prokopyevsk or other remote places? So you can guess in which parts the help was more competent and in which parts the staff was more helpful. From what I've heard, everybody who suspected the appearance of coronavirus could get tested in a local hospital. However, I can't say that for sure because neither myself nor anyone I know ever had a need to do that. But if you look at the public information, it says that everyone can get tested. Considering that all borders with other countries have temporarily been closed during the virus period, and considering that all gatherings have been either banned or postponed, all touristic activities in the country have stopped for a period of time. For the last 3 years, I have been working as an online freelance tutor, so my work and financial situation has not been affected by the coronavirus. For some regions of Russia, the government has ordered a mandatory paid vacation to workers in some companies, but hasn't really provided means or finances for putting this rule into practice. Well, like I said before, our region was not as affected as some of the other ones, so the rules we had here weren't as strict. We were still able to go outside, to take a walk, to go to the local park, although we just had to be careful not to gather in groups of more than 10 people. But overall, for social life, for people to just meet up and go for a walk and have a chat, well, there wasn't much problem here, at least in our region. Honestly, I'm a bit of an introvert myself. and most of my friends live either abroad or in other parts of Russia, so I communicate with them online. On the other hand, the town where I currently live is kind of like Russian version of Silent Hill, so there is not much to do on the best of days. So to be honest, I haven't really suffered from social distance depression.
Hi there, my name's Tommy. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. As of today in the United States, it's just over 100,000 deaths. How has the U.S. dealt with the lockdowns? It varies from region to region. Primarily in the South, people just carried on as normal, and there were a lot of spikes in cases. Same with the Midwest, the northern Midwest, a lot of spikes. Has healthcare hospitals been able to function properly? In New York City, yes. Other parts of the country, I'm not too sure, but we were covered. We actually had a naval hospital ship come to provide support if needed for New York City. Another question, has the government issued tests for the population to see who's affected? Yes and no. I mean, it's now there's statements of tests being false, not working. It's, yeah. So I couldn't give an honest answer with that one. Tourism, again, I'm basing this on New York City. Tourism has been knocked out in New York completely. There's no sporting events, there's no concerts, movies, Broadway, none of that. I work twice a month, and I'm receiving my full-time salary as I do work for the New York City university system. And my wife is working from home as well. Has the government helped with finances? Yes, once. We received a check each for $1,200 US. There was talk that there might be a few more checks coming, but it kind of fell in the water, so we don't know what's going on with that. Social life. We stay home anyway, so, you know, I mean, yeah, New York City, I know it's a hotbed of activity. Everybody wants to go out and party, drink, have a good time. But, you know, we have a little patio here in our apartment, so we just have drinks, talk with some of the neighbors. That's it. I have been suffering with anxiety. I think because knowing that this was a global pandemic and not just localized to the city or another region, to know that the entire planet was affected by this, it's quite anxiety producing, and knowing that there's no way to escape, that's, I think, got me a little worried. But, you know, I have my friends and everything, so it's good. Final note, I just wanted to thank Ia for the questions, and I wish you guys in Eskilstuna safety, and we hope to see you all soon. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good morning. My name is Peter. I'm living in Antwerp together with my wife. We got a lockdown, or what the government called the safety plan, because they didn't want to call it lockdown. That is since the March of 13th, Friday 13th. And we reached the peak of the number of people killed by coronavirus on April 12th. In total, for the moment, 9,388 people were killed by the virus. In total, 57,850 people were contaminated, and that you have to consider on a total of 11 million people living in Belgium. March 13th, then the government announced that we would be in what we call lockdown, what they call safety plan. What did it mean? All shops were closed. Only the stores with food and drinks were allowed to open. You were allowed to go in with one person per family. Hotels, restaurants were closed. All sports activities were closed, so no indoor activities. And outdoor, you were allowed to do sports, walking, hiking, biking, only with two at the same time. Circumstances were created for some people in the government to try to evolve to some kind of police state because they opened a phone line that you could call if you think your neighbor was having a barbecue with too many friends, because there were no friendly visits allowed. Or if you think that he was going to work while he has a non-essential work, and so on. The Minister of National Safety also tried to get in a rule that people could enter your house without the permission of a judge. We are not able to run tests for everyone. Only now for 2 weeks we are able to run tests in the retirement homes. So all the people in the retirement homes are tested. And so we are astonished and we are surprised looking to the Bundesliga and to Premier League, where sports clubs, soccer clubs are able to test their players every 2-3 days, and we are not able to test people in retirement homes. So my wife is a teacher, so she was home also from the 14th of March until plus minus the 20th of April. Then she was allowed to give lessons again, but in a digital way. And since 2 weeks, she can go to school again. What about tourism? Well, tourism is zero. Everything is closed. All hotels are closed. Even people who have a second home at, for instance, at the sea, they were not allowed to drive over there, which leads now to strange situations because there's a change since 2 weeks. We can visit friends, but in a special way. So every family is called what they call a bubble. And you can visit people from another bubble, but it has to be the same bubble over and over again. So imagine that our neighbors would be our second bubble, so we can get in contact with each other all the time, but with no other people. I'm working as a consultant, independent consultant. I'm also a consultant in industrial laundries. Industrial laundries, of course, all the laundries which are washing hotel line and restaurant line, and they are closed because there's no work. The government gave a bonus from 1,300 euro for March and April. Those companies who were obliged, or independents who were obliged to close, they got a fee of 4,000 euro. But I was not obliged. But of course, if the companies you have to train are closed, then we have to close too. So what about social life? Well, that's easy. Social life was zero. We were only allowed to call people by phone or maybe Skype or whatever. No visits allowed. It was not allowed even to visit your parents. So I'm back to work also since the 4th of May, but of course not fully. I wish you a nice weekend later on, and of course stay safe and especially stay happy. Bye bye.
My name is Delia. I live in Leipzig in the eastern part of Germany. I'm 40 years old and I was asked to talk about Corona in Germany. We have been in a lockdown starting from the 19th of March, as far as I remember, for almost 2 months. So the lockdown ended mid of May. Restaurants were closed, hotels were closed, fitness studios were closed, hairdressers were closed. People were encouraged to stay at home, not to go outside. The rules have been more or less strict. This also depended on the federal state where you lived. For example, here in Saxony, the federal state where Leipzig is located, we were allowed to go 15 kilometers from the place where you live away, not farther than 15 kilometers. You were allowed to go shopping groceries or go to work or go to the doctors. For example, you were also allowed to do sports, for example, go running or walk your dog or the typical things, but just sitting in the park reading a book, not really a reason for going out. This affected tourism quite heavily. So in Leipzig we have once a year a very big book fair where all the authors come and introduce the books to the public. This has been cancelled, so have all large events, concerts, also the cinemas were closed due to the infection risk. It was planned that we had just at the last weekend that it would be a big festival here in Leipzig, the Wave Gothic Treffen, where a lot of people from the Gothic scene come and meet, usually around 20,000 people. They say it's 20,000 people each year. So this was cancelled. The band Rammstein was supposed to play in parallel. This was cancelled as well and postponed to the next year. All other large events are cancelled until the 31st of August, I think, this year, and then we will see. With 180,000 infections, we had only about 8,500 deaths. The group that was affected the most, or is affected the most, are the elderly people. Of course, they were relatively fast protected from the rest. We have, I think, a capacity of 300,000 tests per week. You can detect the virus only as long as it's there, so as long as you have symptoms. This is usually around 2 weeks. After that, you don't know if you had corona or not. I'm a scientist, and I work in the field of vaccine development and also developing diagnostics. We also work with SARS coronavirus 2, or started to work with the virus, and I'm culturing it on cells in the lab so that we have infectious virus for our tests. There's not much social life ongoing anymore. So we started, as I said, 2 weeks ago, but still we are restricted to 2 households. The thing that I find very funny is the fact what you could not get in the supermarket anymore. In Germany we had a problem getting toilet paper. You might laugh, but we really had a shortage in toilet paper. The shelves were empty, and over a few weeks we could not have toilet paper. The same with pasta and canned tomatoes and yeast and flour. So obviously all the people ate pasta with tomato sauce, baked bread, and went to the toilet. Yeah.
Hej, Cecilia heter jag. Jag är 50 år gammal och bor i Eskilstuna i Sverige. Idag är det den 9 juli år 2020 och dödssiffran på corona har idag nått 5500 personer i Sverige. Det har varit mycket snack om hur Sverige har hanterat den här situationen med att inte införa lockdowns utan endast ha med restriktioner och olika regler och hänvisningar till det berömda svenska sunda förnuftet. Vad betyder då det här? Ja, det betyder att man inte skulle vara ute i onödan, att man skulle undvika stora folksamlingar, att man skulle hålla sig ren, använda handdesinfektion och gärna munskydd om det finns. Men det fanns ju inte för alla människor. Vad som var öppet hela tiden, det var ju grundskolorna. Och jag som lärare har arbetat med fulla klassrum med elever. Och vi har ju även haft elever som har varit hemma. Och då har ju de fått ha digitala undervisningar samtidigt. Så att förutom min egen undervisning så har jag ju alltid haft på datorn så att eleverna också kan få sin undervisning. Det betyder ju att man fick digitalisera ganska mycket och ändra hela sitt förhållningssätt till hur man är som lärare. Precis som i många andra länder så stängde man ju ner mycket här i Sverige. Man stängde ner museum, biografer, konserthallar, festivaler ställdes in, konserter överlag. Däremot så var ju restaurang och hotell fortfarande öppna. Och alla butiker, alla shoppingcentran, allting var öppet. Men eftersom det var svårt för ägarna att få människor till de här ställena så är det ju många ställen som har gått i konkurs. Många hotell har fått stänga igen, man har fått permittera och avskeda väldigt många människor. Turismen har ju totalt urholkats. Vi har ju stängt gränserna precis som många andra länder. Och här i Sverige så har det varit specifikt stängt till Norge, Danmark och Finland. Norge har varit så pass hårda så att trots nu när det börjar gå neråt, kanske just därför också, så har man idag sagt att om man besöker Sverige så måste man sitta i karantän i 2 veckor i Norge. Och det betyder ju att all handel på gränsen mellan Sverige och Norge, där många norrmän handlar i Sverige då det är billigare här, de är på väg att gå i konkurs helt enkelt. Från regeringens håll så utlovar man ekonomiskt stöd till företag som var tvungna att permittera mycket av sin personal. Vanligt folk då? Ja, vi arbetande. I Sverige har man någonting som kallas för karensdag. Det är att första dagen du är sjuk så drar man in all lön. Men den här har man tagit bort under coronatiden. Utan om du har varit sjuk på grund av smittorisk så har man då kunnat få ekonomiskt stöd under den dagen så att man inte helt går utan pengar. Däremot har det inte riktigt funkat. Alla har inte fått det här. Alla har inte fått beviljat därför att myndigheterna går runt varandra hela tiden. Sjukvården i Sverige, den har varit fantastisk. Personalen har ju arbetat dygn runt i en väldigt hårt ansatt situation. Intensivvårdsplatserna har inte alltid funnits, men de har ju varit väldigt innovativa för att ordna allting. Idag är det tillräckligt med vårdplatser och trots att 74 000 personer, mer än 74 000 personer är sjuka, smittade idag, så fungerar vården. Det man dock har varit mest orolig för, det är ju äldreomsorgen och äldrevården. Därför att äldreboendena har varit hårt ansatta av smittor och väldigt många äldre har dött. Min egen mamma åkte in på sjukhus efter ett fall i hemmet. Hon blev testad för corona och det var negativt. Däremot sa läkaren att vi kommer inte att ha livsuppehållande vård för henne om hon skulle bli sämre. Och det kändes ju hemskt nedvärderande att höra att min mamma som har arbetat hela livet inte ska få vård. Både jag och min man är lärare och min man jobbar ju på gymnasium så han har ju haft digitaliserad undervisning men arbetat de senaste 3 veckorna innan skolan slutade på plats. Vår hemmavarande dotter går på gymnasiet. Hon har haft digital undervisning sedan mars. Det gick jättebra. Mitt ena barnbarn har inte fått gå på dagis. Därför att man fick inte lämna barnen på dagis om det fanns minsta lilla smitta från någon familjemedlem. Och då pratar vi allt ifrån hosta, halsont, smitta, vad det nu än är. När det kommer till det här att vara hemma, det sociala livet. Nej, jag har inte lidit av att vara hemma och att inte träffa mina vänner. Jag trivs i hemmet, i lugnet här. Någonting som dock var lite ledsamt, det var att vi skulle spela nere på Wave Gothic-träffen i Tyskland. Och den festivalen blev inställd, så där blev våra 2 spelningar inställda. Jag vill med det här tacka alla de som har ställt upp och skickat in sina historier, sina berättelser från sina länder. Jag hoppades på att många skulle ställa upp och många gjorde det. Det har varit ett stort jobb, men det här är fantastiskt för mig att använda i min undervisning. Jag var tyvärr tvungen att klippa ner väldigt många av inspelningarna för att de skulle vara kring 5 minuter. Min egen är till och med för lång här. Men det var så intressant allting jag fick höra och jag önskar att jag kunde ha sparat allting. Men jag kommer att använda det när jag sagt i min undervisning. För att det här ska undervisas i både historia, samhällskunskap och i geografi. Där det här faktiskt hör hemma. Stort tack för att ni lyssnade. Och verkligen så hoppas jag att ni mår bra. Och att ni alla håller er friska och att ni inte drabbats för hårt av den här smittan. Och jag hoppas på att vi alla kan återgå till ett normalt liv. Fast lite mera med tanke på hur det kan vara i framtiden. Med klimat, med sjukdomar, med mat, med allt. Tänk framåt.